Want to talk to you about those kids that did that remote option last year and then trying to transition back into in-person learning. So how do you reacclimate them to the school climate?
So we're using a lot of TLC, and when I spoke to the faculty on the first day, on Monday, I said relationships are the most important thing. You can't start with unit one of your curriculum on the first week. Even you have to build relationships with these kids. You have to reintegrate them back into school, and build meaningful connections with them. Our guidance counselors, our administrators, and our teachers are all on point with that message and doing that with kids. But the other thing is also making sure that kids have meaningful connections with one another, because this has been very isolating for a lot of kids. And being in a building with 1,700 kids is foreign for some of them.
Sure, and we talk about that social emotional component and what that's like. The other thing is I'm going to call it the fear factor. There was this survey, it was just put out Wednesday from the National Parent Teacher Association, and it showed that parents are not only anxious about sending their kids back to school, but they're also worried about the kids' health and safety. And a lot of them said they wanted to still have that remote option at least part of the time. But Dr. Zawicki, that's not something that's being offered for you right now, right?
No, it's not. As per the governor and the Department of Education, there is no remote option. And when, we went from no masking back to masking, that was the first thing I asked. I said, if we're in a situation now where the rate of transmission is so high, are we going to offer a virtual option for parents? And we have not received an answer on that. But that's the number one thing parents ask me about.
Right, I'm sure. So Anthony, I guess you guys had to jump into that virtual space right away, but that wasn't something that you had planned for. But I guess you were able to get the experience from last year, how to quickly now pivot and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know where we were going to be 3 weeks ago because we were still waiting on guidance. So we actually started planning these 3 days last April. Exactly what Rob said with the SEL stuff and all that kind of stuff. That was important. We knew that. So we had a ton of programming with no classes, strictly reintroducing our kids to the building. But we also do not have a remote option unless it's an extenuating circumstance, which there's layers you have to get through to get to that point. So we're in the same boat. But at this point, as much as we all want to be live, we're experts in virtual learning. It's just what it is. We've done this so long now that we can on the fly. Last night, I think at 8 o'clock, they decided to go virtual today. And we were able to very quickly move virtual and get our kids into programming today. And it's just how it's going to go. And we might be okay for 3 weeks and there could be spread and you're going to have to do it again. But I think the option, though, and not having the hybrid is really important. That hybrid was just very difficult for students. It's difficult for teachers. It's difficult for administrators. So I think going kind of one or the other and just having kids live as much as possible is the way to go.